Hello, this is Marian Penna coming to you today from seemstobeso.com. I'm making a series of videos and lessons for my website on today's cutting techniques. So I thought I would do a lesson on how I get from Electric Quilt to a PDF file and to my cutting software. So this is strictly just that, and I'm going to try very hard to stay on topic. So with that in mind, the first thing you're going to need is a PDF software that you can put on your computer that will allow you to save or print your file to PDF versus saving it as a pattern or printing it to your printer, excuse me. I use PDF Fill to make my to use as my printer of choice in that respect. I have other PDF softwares on my PC that I have purchased, but because I want to give you open source freeware type source, there are several. I think there's one called Cute PDF, and then there's this one, PDF Fill. The reason why I liked PDF Fill is because the first PDF editor I ever used was from PDF Fill, and it did the job for me until I found something much better that I like much better. Anyway, when you come to their website at pdffill.com, you want to click on the free PDF writer. And then you click on download now. And this is software that does not have any extras on it. So you're not going to have to worry about installing a toolbar for your browser you don't want or that kind of thing. You're simply installing the software itself. So you can it will then take you to CNET where you can download it. And you also need to have this Ghost script. And to get that, you need to go either here or at SourceForge. I like SourceForge. I didn't realize it was available on SourceForge, which is an open source software site which has been around for years and years and years, and I've never had any problem with software I've installed from SourceForge. And I use a lot of open source software, but some softwares I'm sorry, I'm getting off the subject. I do buy software though, so if I like it, I donate to it as well. So you would download the Ghost script, install it, and then install PDF Fill. You don't want to install PDF Fill because it will tell you first, because it will tell you that Ghost script is not installed. So be sure you have Ghost script installed first. Okay, so with that in mind, let's go to Electric Quilt. And choose our pattern, which I've already done here, but if you're going to choose your pattern, you might go up to Libraries, Block Library, and choose your pattern from any one of these. You'd add it to Sketchbook. You could go to your own library and add it to Sketchbook as well. So it's just up to you. For me, I'm using the October 2014 Little Treasures Bomb block. So anyone watching this video will get to see the preview before I've even put it on the site. So I'm ready to take this and make it into templates. I've already done that for the most part, but I'm going to show you how to make the PDF file from your pattern. So you want to come to File and to Print Setup first. Okay, you could go to Print here, but I'm not, I never use the print icon, which is funny. As you can see, my printer by default is Nitro PDF Creator Pro 9. This was software I purchased some time ago. I had 8 also, as well. As you can see, I have a lot of PDF software. But PDF Fill will show up right down here, and that's what you would want to change to if you're going to use PDF Fill. Now, these are the options for PDF fill, and you need to open these prior to making a printer file in PDF. I have mine set to image because when I make my embroidery files for my templates, I use PDF fill image writer to create the images from my embroidery files so I can easily take them into the Bernina software. But you would want to have this on the free PDF writer. And that's really all you would need to do, and then you can exit and leave it at that. I'm going to switch me back so that I haven't changed anything, and I'm going to exit. But it's important that you're set up on PDF versus the image writer. Okay, so then you would switch it to the image writer and click OK. I'm sorry, I can't print PDF if I'm on this because I have it set to image. It's going to make 5 pages of image files if I do this. So I'm going to go to my standard little Nitro PDF. That's what it's always on. I'm going to just click OK. I know I'm writing a PDF file currently. So then I can come to print and templates. If I go to file, print, and I can choose templates. If I choose the printer icon, it's the same. I can choose templates here as well. And this is where it will allow me to choose my sizings, a seam allowance if I want it. On templates, I don't want my seam allowance to show, so I would not check this. If I needed to change any of the page setup, such as the fonts, then I would come in here and I would select which one I want to change. Then I would change it to the font and the size. And that can be important with your key pattern especially, because I run into problems all the time with that. But I just redo mine because I like big fonts, but I don't. It's hard to see them when they're all bunched up together on small areas, such as the eyes on the faces. So you can look at your preview even, and you can see how it's going to print out. In this case, I don't really care so much how it's going to print out, but my patterns always are separated by all the hair, for instance, is together, all the flesh parts would be together, the dress parts would be together, the balloon parts, the fabric. I try to coordinate with what the fabrics are, in other words, so that it's easier for you to set up your parts. And at the same time, I would actually try and move all this in so I can save my space. I can see that I probably didn't do a great job of that, but the next thing we're ready to do now is to print our templates. So we print my folder that I need to be in. As you can see, it's a really long path that takes a moment to get to, and that's why I just paused for the moment. But when I'm making whenever I'm making PDF files for my patterns, I rename them. It will usually name it to whatever the PJ7 file or the P7E file is. So I just want to rename this to like templates. I'm going to put templates 2 because my first templates file is already edited and ready to go to the machine and such. And so I need to make sure that I don't overwrite it. Okay, so templates 2, and for me, I have PDF files set to open straight up in Foxit Phantompdf because that's the editor I use today. As you can see, I have lots of PDF editing software. So you can see what I mean here by the bunches of letters showing up. It's very hard to see all this. And I have been told I can lower the font, but if I lower the font, then I can't see it. And I need to be able to see. So I edit all this stuff when I send out my patterns. You would never see a key file in this manner. So what I do next, you don't need this page when you're doing this technique. It's not going to have any bearing except it may help you with naming your layers in your software. But we're not going to do that. We're just getting straight from PDF to cutting software. But I do take out these. Okay. Now, if you don't have PDF editing software, you're going to say, how can I do this? Well, that's where Inkscape comes in. Let me get to that browser page and I will show it to you. Inkscape is another open source software that you can use freely. You should, if you like it, you should donate. It will easily edit PDF files in the software. I don't think it saves PDF files very well though, although I haven't ever really tried it to save it back as a PDF file. What you could do is save it and then print it as a PDF again, and it will have that editing done for you. Inkscape by default will save it to a SVG file, and this is not something I'm prepared to show you how to do today. So, and I'm not going to show you. I'll discuss SVGs later in other tutorials. But and I'm not going to show you how to edit in Inkscape either. I'm just going to show you what you need to edit out in the software and what you can fix. You can fix all of this stuff in Inkscape. There's not a thing you can't do in Inkscape that I can't do in this software. So, like I say, I would take out these lines because you do not need these lines. You'll need them for your placement layouts, but not for the templates. If you have little shapes, now I know I'm not going to need these shapes, but I'm going to move them over anyway. Foxit has it settings so I can choose text, shape, or images, and sometimes it's kind of hard to get what you need. As you can see, a really teeny tiny shape. These are all going to be embroidered parts, so that's why I say you would not need to. You could delete those out. I could delete this right now. You can delete them in Inkscape as well, but you might want to keep them in order to keep track of the numbers and make a embroidery file or a PDF page just for those, so that you can keep track. When I make my make the cut files, I make a tab just for the embroidery shapes. I do the same in Silhouette Designer Plus. I make an embroidery file just for those shapes so that I know which shapes went to the embroidery, and it just helps you keep track. And I also list those shape numbers in the PDF file in the instructions, so every effort is made to help you know. But like when you see something like this, I need to change my edit objects. I'm going to change it to text at this point, and I'm going to grab the text and I'm just going to kind of move it up there so you can see. You do want this text out of the way. You don't want it showing up on the outer edge. So if you have to, what you can do is you can also just move it out so it's not there. But if you move it outside, when you put it in your Silhouette software or you make the cut, it's also going to bring this in. So you want to try, if you can, and keep it inside. I don't know if in Inkscape you can resize. I can't imagine you couldn't, but you could just resize this a little bit, and that's just way too small. And let's see how that looks now. Okay, that's good enough, and I can see that, so I'd be happy with that. Okay, so this is what I'm trying to say. This kind of thing, it needs to be fixed, because when you're creating your shapes in the software, not so much with Make the Cut, but with Silhouette, it's pretty picky on this kind of stuff. So you really do need to fix them. This is an embroidery shape, and I would just move it out because I know I'm going to delete them off, or I'm going to copy or move them into the embroidery file. So that's what I do, and it's not important to me to have these shapes inside. because I'm not going to reshape the embroidery file in Inkscape off the video, and if I can export it to PDF, I'll let you know in a moment. Okay, as you can see here, I have the PDF in Netscape. You can only open one page at a time in these softwares, even though in your Silhouette or Make the Cut software you can open tabs for each page. Well, that's what I do. I just line them all up and then work with the various tabs, getting them lined up the way I want. In this case, you can move these little texts, or the text, you can move the text around. You can resize it. So that's just an answer to that question right there. You can take, and then you can, once you do that, you can then go to File and Print. It will not export to PDF. It will not save as a PDF, so you have to print it. But if you do print it, well, it's not going to let me do it because I still have it open in the other software. But as you can see, I did save it. I moved this shape around in Inkscape when I did it before, so to see if it would save properly, and it saved great as a PDF. So I'm thrilled with that, and that would make me happy. So in that respect, we know that Inkscape will print the PDF file. Now, I know you're going to ask me why I don't save it to SVG like most people would, but SVG has the Silhouette Studio software in particular does not open SVGs at the same size the shapes in the SVG are. You have to resize the shapes. Now you can resize easily, but you still have to check each shape afterwards to make sure that all the shapes are the proper size. It's a significant enough change in the size that SVG is just not feasible, and it's the reason why I stopped using my Scan and Cut as well, because you have to use SVG in the Canvas software to make the FCM file that goes to your scanner. So unless I wanted to print out PDFs and scan them on the brother scanner and then do all that work in the little teeny tiny window they give you, it's just not feasible. I don't have the eyesight to do that, and I until they do something about that, I just don't see using my brother too much for that ability, especially where SVG is concerned, until that problem is fixed, because it's the same in the Canvas software. The SVG doesn't open to the size it should either, and you have to resize. And if you've ever tried to resize a shape in that software, it's much harder than it is in any other software. You have to drag it, and dragging those shapes is not so easy to do. So I don't recommend I'm not going to be passing out SVG files like I thought I would be because of that resizing problem. So that's why I'm not doing it, and that's why my main concentration is just going to be using PDF files, because PDF files come into the software at the accurate size they need to be, and that's one less step you have to do. So since we know Inkscape is good to go, once you have your PDF document, you then open your Make the Cut software. With Make the Cut, you would import the PDF. With Silhouette, you would open to the PDF file. You choose the page. You have to choose pages. If you look at the other tutorials on how to do it, you'll see that you have to open per page, and then you continue on with that. But this is how I get from Electric Quilt to my cutting file software, and I don't do it with Netscape. I just do it by editing it, and really you wouldn't even have to edit your PDF. I do that as an extra step to save me the extra work in my cutting software. But if you don't have an editor and you don't really want to fuss with installing one or using Inkscape, you can open those PDFs as they are in Silhouette or Make the Cut and just delete those little things out. And even when you're doing with Make the Cut, it pretty much brings in the shapes so you don't have all the text, but sometimes it brings in some of the text, but they're easily deleted out. And with Silhouette, it brings them all in, but because you trace the PDF file page, you're tracing the outer edge, so you would not even have to worry about those key numbers. But at the same time, you have to make sure they're not on the edge of your file. And if you bring them in with them on the edge or hanging out of the edge, you then have to deal with redrawing. And that's why you want to have some kind of editing done to your PDF first. I show all of those little idiosyncrasies in the tutorials, so I think if you just look at those, you'll notice that. And the other thing I did want to say is that I do have an Inkscape tutorial on the PDF to version 2.9 of Silhouette software on my site currently, and you can really see how to use Inkscape to edit a PDF file. And even though it saves to SVG, you can print that also to PDF. So that's the end of this lesson for today. I thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you again soon. Bye-bye for now.